Caitlin Clark is subbing in. So basically, this was what Team USA did, was they went 5 on, 5 off. Normally, when you're coming onto the floor, you high-five the people you're coming on for. That's what you do. You high-five people you're coming on for, and then you get ready to play. So it was 5 on, 5 off, hockey subs, except Angel had previously been,
So here we are again. It's 2026, and somehow we're still talking about a missed high five between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. But before you roll your eyes and click away, there's something deeper happening here that nobody's talking about. Because this isn't really about a high five at all. It's about what happens when two players can't escape a narrative that's been built around them since college, no matter how hard they try.
Caitlin Clark, as you can see right here, she comes and she goes and high fives the players that are being subbed off, and then turns her head as Angel Reese is trying to high five her. Nothing happens. Like, she high fives the last person and just turns her head. So by the time Angel has lifted her hand, Caitlin is not looking. Caitlin is not looking here. So does this look bad? I mean, yeah, especially given the history. Yeah, absolutely.
Look at that moment again. Team USA is running hockey substitutions. 5 players on, 5 players off. Caitlin comes onto the floor, high-fives the players being subbed out, and turns her head right as Angel lifts her hand. By the time Angel's hand is up, Caitlin is already looking away. That's it. That's the entire incident. But social media exploded. Thousands of comments, think pieces written, fan bases going to war in the replies. And the wildest part? Both sides claimed this proved their narrative. Clark fans said it was payback for Angel looking her off last year. Reese fans said it showed Caitlin's true colors. Everyone saw exactly what they wanted to see.
We saw in the game 1, Caitlin Clark, I've never seen Caitlin Clark, and maybe she has, when high-five the free throw shooter. She ran from the halfway line to high-five Angel. What happened later on in this game? Caitlin hit Angel for 2 potential assists. One, she fucked up a layup. One, Angel passed it up. And then got her with an assist. The ball movement with Caitlin feeding Angel happened after this. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter that ball movement stuff happened after this, because this is nothing.
Here's what actually matters about this moment. Not the high five itself, but what happened immediately after. Because if there was real animosity between these two players, if this was some calculated snub, we'd see it play out on the court, and we didn't. Later in that same game, Caitlin ran from half court to high five Angel after a free throw. Not walked, ran. Then she hit Angel with 2 potential assists, one where Angel blew the layup, another where Angel passed it up. The ball movement between them continued throughout the game like nothing happened. That's not how actual beef looks on a basketball court. When players genuinely don't like each other, they don't seek each other out for celebrations. They don't feed each other the ball in crucial moments.
I'm not going to name the guy, but this is when I was still playing in the top league in Ireland. And I did it as well when it happened to me. And I'm like, thank God nobody clipped it and showed it, because there's footage somewhere of me doing this as well. So I'm a young lad sitting on the end of the bench, and a player's obviously high-fiving coming down the end of the bench. Did not get to me, and thank God this one wasn't shown viral. But someone's waiting for the high five, nothing there, and they just look at them and slap their own hand. Like, they slap their own hand in a high five and then just put it down. Like, that is a common thing. People miss high five.
Let's talk about what real basketball tension looks like, because anyone who's actually played competitive ball knows this. If Angel Reese truly wanted to sabotage Caitlin Clark, she wouldn't need to ignore a high five. She'd do it on defense. Watch how they're switching on pick and rolls. USA is switching every Angel Caitlin screen. If Angel really hated Caitlin, all she'd have to do is give 50% effort on those switches. Don't pressure hard enough when the guard gets the ball, make it easy for them to pass inside to the big, and suddenly Caitlin's stuck defending a center in the paint. She'd either get scored on or forced to foul. That's how you subtly undermine a teammate if you want to. Nobody in the stands would notice. Most fans watching wouldn't catch it, but the coaches would see it in film and the player would get cooked. Angel's not doing that. She's playing those switches hard.
They probably don't like each other. I'm going to be real here. They probably don't. Do I care? No. Does it matter? No. Like, there are players on basketball teams that don't particularly like each other. Do they hate each other? No. Like, it is just, by the looks of things, it just seems to be a situation where, like, you're just seeing it in general, where neither of them, they're not going to be the best of friends. As far as on the court is concerned, yes, their games complement each other perfectly. Like, we got to be real here. And if you're not trying to argue, like, does her game complement Caitlin Clark more than Leah Boston's? Naturally, yes, but with the version of a Leah Boston that exists right now, no.
Think about the everyday version of this for a second. You're walking down the street on your phone, completely in your own world. Someone you know walks by and says hi. You don't hear them because you're focused on something else. They walk away thinking you ignored them. You have no idea it even happened. That scenario plays out millions of times every single day. Nobody films it. Nobody writes articles about it. Nobody builds conspiracy theories around it. It's just life. People miss social cues constantly, especially in high-pressure environments where your brain is focused on a dozen other things. But when it's Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, suddenly it becomes evidence of some deep-seated hatred. Every interaction gets put under a microscope. Every gesture analyzed frame by frame. Every facial expression interpreted as proof of whatever narrative you already believed.
We've seen a few times, even in the last game, where I don't like the way they're playing defense, but it's like whenever USA are switching every single pick and roll with Angel and Caitlin. And like, if Angel really hated Caitlin, what Angel would do is she wouldn't pressure. Like, you can put 50% pressure on a switch and it not really look bad. So like, if you're putting 50% pressure on a switch, no, you're not really gonna, like, a normal person's not really gonna notice that much.
Here's the part that should bother everyone. Both of these players are going to be on the 2028 Olympic team. That's not speculation, that's reality. They're both elite players who complement each other's games perfectly, and they're going to have to deal with this exact same media circus every single time they're on the court together. Think about how exhausting that must be. You're trying to focus on representing your country, winning a gold medal, playing the best basketball of your life, and instead people are analyzing whether you smiled enough during a substitution, whether your high five was enthusiastic enough, whether you looked at someone the right way. That's not basketball analysis, that's tabloid coverage dressed up as sports commentary.
This is nothing. This isn't even basketball. This is just nothing. This is just a situation that happens. Like, if you walk past somebody and you're on your phone, you don't notice them, and they say hi, and you're kind of on your phone, you're in a different world, and you just miss it. That situation happens on a fucking billion times a day. And it's like, if you're on the side of saying hi to someone and they're sitting there on their phone, they just genuinely are in a different world and don't acknowledge you. You're on the side being like, oh, they're ignoring me. And the reality is they might not have just seen it.
Now let's address the elephant in the room. Do Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese like each other? Probably not. They don't need to. They're professional basketball players on the same team, not roommates planning a vacation together. Professional sports is full of teammates who aren't friends off the court. Michael Jordan and several of his Bulls teammates couldn't stand each other. Kobe and Shaq won 3 championships while barely speaking. LeBron had teammates he didn't socialize with outside of basketball. It doesn't matter. What matters is whether they can play together effectively. And the evidence says yes. Their games complement each other. They make the right basketball plays. They communicate on defense. They celebrate each other's success when it counts. That's all you need from teammates at this level.
Scenario. It is 2026. They very clearly, again, they're very clearly fine with each other. And by that, I mean, like, in a working capacity, they are fine with each other. They can play on the same team together. Their goals are aligned, which is winning. And on the court, I do think minutes both of them play are going to be good minutes. Like, I still think Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, I think Caitlin and Paige are 2 best players in this team. And it's so funny people saying it now. And I'm like, oh yeah, these are the best players in this team. I've been saying this for months. There are TikTok videos of me being...
But here's where the media narrative becomes genuinely harmful. By turning every single interaction between these 2 players into a referendum on their relationship, we're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. We're making it harder for them to just be teammates because every gesture gets weaponized by someone's fan base. Caitlyn feeds Angel the ball? Clark fans say she's being forced to. Angel sets a screen for Caitlyn? Reese fans say she's doing all the dirty work. They could win a championship together and people would still find ways to turn it into evidence of conflict. This isn't analysis, this is fan fiction being passed off as sports journalism. And both players deserve better than having their professional relationship constantly dissected by people who've decided what the story is before they even watch the game.
Kelsey Gray has to start point guard. And they were like, Jackie Young. I'm like, no, Paige and Caitlyn are better than both of them. They're better than both of them. Like, they're like, oh, Paige and Caitlyn are too young. I'm like, what do you mean they're too young? They're 24 years old. Like, they're 24 years old. How, like, LeBron had 2 MVPs by 24. Or do you have 1 MVP in a set? Like, LeBron had, I'm pretty sure LeBron had top 5 finishes in MVP voting by the time he was 24. Oh wait, Olympics had already, like, LeBron was what, 23 at the 08 Olympics? Was 22 at the 08 Olympics? Like, that is what we're talking about here. Like, and that was LeBron's 2nd Olympics. It was LeBron's 2nd Olympics.
Let's get real about the business side of this for a moment. The WNBA has never had this level of attention before. Caitlin Clark's rookie season brought record ratings, record attendance, record merchandise sales. Angel Reese's double-double streak became appointment viewing. The league is growing faster than anyone predicted, and part of that growth is being driven by this rivalry narrative. The league knows it, the media knows it, the players definitely know it. Every time there's a Caitlyn Angel storyline, engagement goes through the roof, views skyrocket, comment sections explode. The algorithm loves conflict, so there's a financial incentive to keep this going, to find drama where none exists, to interpret neutral moments as significant events, to keep people talking about their relationship instead of just their basketball.
At the end of the day, yeah, it's much easier for Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers to break into the actual starting 5 because the guards situation are already the 2 best guards in the league. Like, Angel Reese is tougher because she's competing with Stewie, Fee, and Aja for those minutes, which she's not going to win. She's not going to start just due to that. That being said, like, this right here is nothing. They're both going to be on the Olympic team. No question about that. They're both going to be on that Olympic team in 2028. They're both going to be on the World Cup team. My expectations is that Fee, Stewie, and Aja don't play at the World Cup. That is my expectations. Depending on how condensed the season is.
Here's what makes this situation particularly frustrating for anyone who actually understands basketball. Both of these players are genuinely elite. Caitlin Clark is arguably the best point guard in the league right now, with a case for top 2 players overall. Angel Reese is a rebounding machine who's still developing her offensive game but already impacts winning. They both deserve to have their games analyzed on merit. Their decision making, their skill development, their basketball IQ, their impact on team success. Instead, we're talking about high fives and body language, and whether they smiled at each other the right way. That's disrespectful to both of them as athletes. They've worked their entire lives to reach this level, and the conversation around them is stuck on middle school drama.
There's a world where that happens. Shout out business expenses. So worst case scenario, it's an out company expense going to this. But like, at the end of the day, you're looking at this and people are making such a big deal out of something that in the grand scheme of things is absolutely nothing.
The comparison to LeBron James at the 2008 Olympics is telling. LeBron was 23 years old when he played his 2nd Olympics. He was already a multiple-time MVP finalist, already one of the faces of the league, already proven at the highest level. Nobody said LeBron was too young for Team USA. Nobody said he hadn't earned his spot. He was ready, so he played. Age wasn't the determining factor. Ability was. Caitlin Clark is 24. Paige Buchers is 24. They're not kids anymore. They're not prospects who need to develop. They're established stars who are either the best or close to the best at their positions right now. The idea that they need to earn their spots through some undefined process that older players didn't have to go through is nonsense. Here's what actually happened with this high-five situation, stripped of all the narrative building and fan-base warfare. Team USA ran a substitution. Caitlin Clark came onto the floor in game mode, focused on getting ready to play. She high-fived the players directly in front of her and turned to set up defensively. Angel Reese, who had stayed on the floor from the previous substitution pattern, went for a high-five that Caitlin didn't see because she'd already turned away. That's it. No calculated snub. No revenge for past slights, no secret animosity bubbling to the surface. Just a missed connection in a moment where both players were focused on basketball, not social niceties. But the internet needed it to be more than that, because the internet always needs it to be more than that. We've created this cottage industry of finding drama in mundane moments, of building conspiracy theories around normal human interactions, of turning professional athletes into characters in a soap opera we've written in our heads. And look, I get it, the Caitlyn Angel storyline is compelling. Their college rivalry was must-watch television. The "you can't see me" gesture after the national championship became iconic. Their contrasting styles, personalities, and fan bases create natural tension. It's good content, it drives engagement. It makes people care about women's basketball who might not have paid attention otherwise. But there's a line between acknowledging a rivalry and manufacturing drama where none exists. And we crossed that line a long time ago. Think about what we're really doing here. We're taking two young women who are trying to establish themselves as professional athletes, who are representing their country on the international stage, who are helping grow their league to unprecedented heights, and we're reducing them to whether they high-fived each other properly. Not their stats, not their impact on winning, not their development as players, not their contributions to the growth of women's basketball, whether they high-fived each other properly. Does that seem proportional to you? Does that seem like the conversation we should be having about two of the most talented players in the WNBA? The frustrating part is that there are legitimate basketball stories to tell about both of them. Caitlyn's transition to the pro game, how she's adjusted her shot selection, how she's improved defensively, how she's learning to play off the ball more effectively. Angel's development as a finisher around the rim, her improving free throw shooting, her ability to impact games even when her shot isn't falling, her growth as a defender. Those are real stories. Those are interesting stories. Those are stories that respect them as athletes rather than treating them like reality TV stars. But those stories don't generate the same engagement as did Angel Reese just disrespect Caitlin Clark, or Caitlin Clark's shocking reaction to Angel Reese. So we keep getting fed the drama and the actual basketball gets pushed to the background. Here's the thing about basketball at the highest level. It's hard, really hard. The WNBA is full of players who were the best player on every team they ever played for until they got to this league. Players who dominated in college, players who were All-Americans, national champions, Olympic medalists, and now they're competing against each other every night. In that environment, the mental game matters just as much as the physical game. Your focus, your preparation, your ability to block out distractions and stay locked in on what matters. And we're making that harder for these players by turning every interaction into a controversy. Imagine trying to focus on your job while knowing that millions of people are analyzing your every facial expression. Every time you don't smile enthusiastically enough, it becomes evidence of some character flaw. Every time you're focused on your work instead of social pleasantries, it gets turned into a storyline. Every normal human moment becomes content for someone's hot take. That's what we're doing to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and it's not fair to either of them. Now, are there legitimate questions about their relationship? Sure, they're not going to be best friends. They might not even like each other very much. That's fine. That's normal. That's professional sports. But the constant speculation, the reading tea leaves in every interaction, the building entire narratives around moments that mean nothing, that's not legitimate sports coverage. That's gossip dressed up as analysis. And the worst part is that it obscures the actual story, which is that women's basketball is experiencing unprecedented growth. The WNBA is expanding, ratings are up, attendance is up, investment is up. Young girls are watching these games and seeing themselves represented at the highest level of the sport. That's the story. That's what matters. That's what we should be talking about. Instead, we're arguing about a high five. So here's my challenge to everyone watching this. The next time you see a clip of Caitlyn and Angel interacting, before you jump to conclusions, before you decide it proves whatever narrative you already believed, ask yourself, am I analyzing basketball or am I just looking for drama? Because if it's the latter, you're part of the problem. You're contributing to an environment that makes it harder for these players to do their jobs. You're reducing accomplished athletes to characters in a story you've invented. These are real people. They're not here to perform your fan fiction. They're here to play basketball at the highest level, and they're both really good at it. Do they need to be friends for that to work? No. Do they need to like each other? No. Do they need to give each other enthusiastic high fives every time they're on the court together? Absolutely not. They just need to play basketball. And when we actually let them do that, when we focus on their games instead of their relationship, it's pretty clear that they can coexist just fine. The 2028 Olympics are coming. Both of them will be there. They'll probably win gold. And somewhere in that tournament, there will be another moment that gets blown out of proportion, another gesture that gets analyzed frame by frame, another interaction that becomes evidence for whatever people want to believe, and we'll have a choice. We can keep doing this, keep turning every moment into drama, keep treating these players like characters instead of athletes. Or we can grow up, acknowledge that professional teammates don't have to be best friends, and focus on the basketball that actually matters. I know which choice I'm making. The question is whether everyone else is ready to do the same. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are we making too much of these interactions, or is there real tension here that affects their play? And hit subscribe, because we're gonna keep covering the actual basketball stories that matter, not just the manufactured drama.